Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 8:07, and we're all fired up here for this final hour of our 4 hours of morning radio. If you're just joining us, please download the podcast, subscribe to it so you don't miss a beat. We're joined, and by we, I mean me, Larry O'Connor, and she, Julie Gunlock. Morning, Julie.
Good morning.
And joining us right now is Hogan Gidley. Now, he, of course, knows his way around the White House, as under the Trump presidency, he was the former deputy press secretary and frequent spokesperson for the president. Also, he is now at America First Policy Institute and the vice chair of the Center for Election Integrity there. Thanks for joining us, Hogan.
Anytime, guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I got to ask you. I mean, I could be wrong, but it seems like it's sort of a big story that Joe Biden, the president of the United States, has been completely missing with just this very strange phone call into his old campaign headquarters yesterday as any proof that he's alive and kicking. Do you have any questions that you think reporters should be asking about how they're handling things at this White House? And a follow-up question, do you think the Trump White House would be under more scrutiny with this kind of behavior?
Oh, come on. Come on. Come on. You know the answer to that. I mean, they've been covering for Joe Biden for decades and been carrying his water for the last 4 years. There's some significant questions I would ask, before he even got out of the race and since. I mean, have you been diagnosed with any illness like Parkinson's or dementia? Those are clear questions to ask. Also, if you can't run, the campaign, how can you run the country? Right. Shouldn't you be out? Right. I mean, just to be intellectually honest here. Right. I mean, how can those two things square? Also, why are you holding office now? Shouldn't you step down and give Kamala Harris the power of incumbency?
Right. If you're so confident in her ability to be president, let her take over now.
Yeah, you picked her. Yeah. Right? So what does that say about your bad judgment? I mean, a lot of questions that'll never be asked. Why'd you put that letter out, not on official White House letterhead, but on your own personal stationery? What was with the weird signature? All kinds of weird things going on here. We probably won't ever get answers to them because the press is not very curious about things as it relates to the political left. They just take it at face value and do what they need to do because they ideologically agree with those on the left. Yeah. Whereas when we were in the White House, every single thing we did was scrutinized and questioned 6 ways from Sunday. Mm-hmm. And that's just kind of the lot we have. Mm-hmm. What was so great about Donald Trump was he knew that. He didn't whine about it. He just said, you're all fake. You're all full of it. Mm-hmm. And I love that about him because so often those candidates on our side, as you know, folks, they just kind of, we won't, it's not fair. And why is it so unfair? And you guys don't treat us fairly. And we need the same amount of coverage. And Trump's like, nope, you're all fake. I don't care. It's all fake. And I thought that was so refreshing, having been doing comms for 25 years. But this country's in a really dangerous spot right now. And make no mistake, it's Joe Biden and Kamala Harris that put us here.
Yeah, they were really obsessed with the goings-on of the Trumps, the whole Trump family. In fact, I saw this on Twitter.
His staff, his businesses, everything.
There was a Melania tracker. They were complaining the CNN put up a Melania tracker. Haven't seen her in 10 days. Haven't seen her in 12 days. Every day they would update.
Hold on. In fairness, you don't have to track Jill. She's everywhere. She's basically the president. You don't have to track her.
Yeah, how can you miss those dresses?
Every day. Yeah, how do you miss them? Right.
So, Hogan, from a campaign perspective now, we're told by our intellectual superiors like Joe Scarborough that the Trump campaign is in a full meltdown panic over having to face off against Kamala Harris. I mean, other than the personality differences between Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is way less likable than Joe Biden pretended to be. Policy-wise, it's sort of the same message, isn't it? She owns everything Biden did.
It's identical. And in fact, it was Kamala Harris who wanted to be sure she was considered the partner. She took a lot of the press, remember, bragging about being in the room in the Afghanistan withdrawal decision. She was part of it.
Yeah.
She wanted all these big jobs. And then, of course, she found out after she really didn't want any of those jobs because they were too hard for her.
Yeah, in fact, if I can jump in, Hogan, I don't ever remember the Trump administration being referred to as the Trump-Pence administration. It was the Trump administration. By the way, same with Obama, same with Bush. That's how it's always been. It was this presidency that bent over backwards to let everyone know that it was the Biden-Harris administration. So there's no distancing herself at all.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I'd forgotten their insistence on that, but I remember hearing it for the first time from the administration and in the media, and it was jarring. I was like, whoa, what administration is this?
Right.
And then I realized it was kind of something they had concocted so that the transitional candidate that was Joe Biden, of course, could pave the way for Kamala Harris, and then she could be part and parcel with everything he did. So she's going to have some real policy problems, obviously, but the media, do not underestimate their ability to try and make something happen. They literally, in 3 weeks, got rid of the sitting president of the United States simply because they decided to report on reality. That's all it took. So the fact that they're going to try and remake and reinvent Kamala Harris should not only be of no surprise to us, but it should be quite worrisome that they're going to try and do that again. Now, she is so unpopular. Remember when she ran for president, she ranked 8th amongst black voters, 8th in support from black voters behind Lily White, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, and fake Indian, Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah.
So she's not popular, but the fact is this rebrand and this remake as someone who's at the top of the ticket, get ready for some history to be rewritten for sure.
Are you hopeful that the Republicans will do a good job really highlighting her failures, whether it's on the border or her radicalism? I mean, just the fact that nobody is there to greet Bibi Netanyahu, and that her, not to mention that her daughter is raising money for Hamas, that she raised money to get BLM violent activists out of jail. Will Republicans be able to pivot to her actual record rather than, sort of responding to what she wants them to respond to, and that is her gender, abortion, those sorts of issues?
Well, she introduces herself with her pronouns, too, on many occasions as well. So her radical streak is nothing hidden. It is wide out open for all to see. Listen, politics is about defining your opponent before they define themselves. And in this particular instance, while Kamala Harris is the vice president, a lot of people don't know who the vice president is. It's incumbent upon the Republicans and the RNC, and the PAC came out with this, kind of early on, pointing her as a liar, complicit in the cover-up of Joe Biden's horrific medical condition. That's great. That's a great first step. But she's a blank canvas as far as many voters are concerned, and the quicker you can paint that picture as to her abject failure as vice president, as a U.S. senator, and everything in between, the better off you'll be.
By the way, Hogan Gidley, we really enjoyed watching your travel travails coming out of Milwaukee and your constant cancel. Are you still in Atlanta, by the way? I just want to do a wellness check on you. Have you become Tom Hanks living in the airport?
I made a joke about that to somebody in like the Delta Lounge. They said that movie was The Terminal. And I'm like, yes, that's exactly right. 5 cancellations, multiple attempts at catching flights on standby. And I got home late Saturday night, having been to the airport early Friday morning. So I spent the night in the Atlanta airport. And, everyone was so upset and everyone was so concerned. But as you saw on my Twitter and my Instagram feed, I don't know why. Pete Buttigieg has this under control, guys.
Yes.
This is just so simple for him to fix. I don't even know why people were upset.
Pete Buttigieg is the most effective and successful Secretary of Transportation in the history of this country.
No question.
Absolutely.
The hard hat, the colored, the orange vest, he'll be there in no time.
Yep.
He'll fix it all. Don't worry.
In Pete we trust. Thanks, Hogan. Always good to talk with you. It's 8:16. Let's get to